Alright, welcome everyone. We've got another night of the Dota 2 Canada Cup. I, of course, am Niz, and we're rounding out the end of Group C tonight, as we saw Not Today play all three of their games from the Group C. They finished 2-1. Of course, Complexity took the one game that they played yesterday. And the two teams that we're going to see this game, Rebeldes and Team eHug, they both unfortunately lost, so right now it's kind of, if we extrapolate what we saw from yesterday, we can think that this is going to be potentially the third place match. Of course, the top two in the group are the ones that are going to advance to the playoffs, but of course these two teams certainly don't want to finish third, so they're going to put up a fight moving forward. A little bit about Dota 2 Canada Cup. First of all, it's it's not restricted to Canada. It's a tournament hosted by Canada, so it contains pretty much all the best teams inside of the Americas and the Americas, both North America and South America. Rebeldes is actually a Brazilian team. Team eHug, of course, largely North American based. Beyond that, there's a ticket in-game to support the tournament. It costs $9. Comes with a pretty sweet spend set and allows you access to watch all the games inside the Dota TV client. And 12.5% of that ticket price goes directly back into the prize pool. So you're supporting the players as well. Prize pool about mid $11,000 right now, which is up from $7,000 from last season. So definitely check that out and support the tournament as best as you can. Another way to support the tournament is also to check out the official stream or official channel for the tournament. That's Dota 2 or twitch.tv/Dota 2 Canada Cup. This isn't the official channel, but thanks for stopping by and checking it out, and at least listening to me give a shot at casting this. But let's catch up with the draft here, as we've got Sniper, Storm Spirit, and now Shadow Fiend banned out by Rebeldes. They started their picks with Lina and a Queen of Pain. eHug banned out the Troll and the Axe, and then went with the pretty standard Bat Rider Vengeful Spirit opening.
5 seconds remaining.
Nothing too out of the ordinary as of yet. Good to see your typical big heroes getting removed with the Troll Warlord and the Sniper. A lot of teams actually don't view those heroes at the same strength, and I find that quite weird. To me, Sniper and Troll, they almost have to be first ban material. I don't see any other hero that can do what a Troll can do, or can do what a Sniper can do. Both just have such an easy time having a huge impact on the game. Of course there's ways of shutting them down. Of course there's ways of countering them. Earlier on it was in Group A, we saw a Keeper of the Light come out to counter the Troll. It didn't work out for them. But you know, you've got to. There is ways to counter those heroes. It just feels like those two heroes are so much more difficult to deal with. But Shadow Fiend and Jug were the second set of bans for Rebeldes, and Zeus and Slark get banned out for eHug, and then they pick up the Templar Assassin. So we've already got an idea of what the lanes are going to be for eHug. We know the Bat Rider is going to most likely be in the off lane. Whether or not that Bat Rider will have to abandon early on remains to be seen, as we'll get a better idea of what Rebeldes's lineup will look like. We know that the Templar Assassin most likely is going to be in the mid lane, and the Vengeful Spirit's most likely going to be supporting whoever they choose to go in the bot lane. One difficulty with potentially running the Templar Assassin in the mid lane is, well, Rebeldes already picked up a Queen of Pain, and Queen of Pain is one of those heroes that can counter the TA quite well. She can throw out the Shadow Strike, and Templar Assassin, there's actually a moment where Templar Assassin can hop into the meld and dodge the Shadow Strike that's coming out. Of course, that doesn't work if Queen of Pain places a sentry down. So Queen of Pain, a little bit of a counter to the Templar Assassin in the mid lane, But given that Queen of Pain was already on the board before eHug picked up the Templar Assassin, that could mean that the Templar Assassin's not going in the mid lane, or it could mean that eHug just says, you know what, we're perfectly fine with playing the TA against the Queen of Pain. There is the off chance that Queen of Pain isn't mid at all, and maybe Rebeldes like to run the Queen of Pain in the off lane. I'm not really sure about that. And then we'd most likely be seeing the Lina in the mid lane, but the Lina could potentially still be a support, and then they'd be ending up picking up another core. But looks like Lycan will be their safe laner. Of course, we have seen Lycan in the mid lane as well. But we just wait here for eHug to pick up their 4th pick, as they're dipping well into the reserve time. About 20 seconds left now. So obviously unsure how to proceed here, as there were a few disconnects and reconnects, but those were on the side of Rebeldes, and they weren't by the drafter, so we won't have to worry about that. Lion's going to be the pick for eHug, so no surprise there with the two pretty much most contested supports in the current meta getting picked up by Team eHug. Rebeldes, you know, with the Lina, that's obviously one of the other contested picks. Of course, if you get Lion and Lina on the same time, then you get a ton of burst damage coming out from your support duo. The downside to that is you don't really have...
10 seconds remaining.
How do I say this?
5 seconds remaining.
Well, Lina really needs to be paired up with a hero that can run in and initiate with the disable.
Reserve time.
Lion does have the potential of doing that. Of course, he can run in and Hex. Hex, it's a little bit more difficult to get in range for Hex. So you typically want to land the Earth Spike, and Earth Spike can be dodged. It is essentially it is a line stun, and when you're at the peak or the very end of that line stun, you can actually move out of the way of it. So it is dodgeable, but on top of that line, it's a little bit harder for him to get into range to engage the target like that. Vengeful Spirit, although her magic missile is a little bit shorter range, she typically doesn't have issues getting into range to at least set up that follow-up disable. But Shadow Demon's going to be the pick for Rebeldes, and well, I think it's actually a pretty good pick. It's a good pick at saving teammates from any kind of situation that they could get in with maybe the Templar Assassin getting on them and potentially blowing them up. But largely, I think that Shadow Demon's going to be there to counter the Batrider. Of course, there's two different ways of doing it. Batrider jumps in, lassos your teammate. You can lasso, or sorry, he can banish or disrupt with Shadow Demon your ally, and that way he's not targetable. He's still going to get pulled by the lasso, but he's not targetable, so you're going to stop that potential burst damage that's going to be coming in and potentially killing your ally. But the other way of doing it is, well, Batrider jumps on in, and if you have positioned yourself well enough that you can actually get that disruption off on the Batrider, then that means the Batrider is not going to be able to move and bring your hero back to the enemy team. Your hero's still in the lasso and a little vulnerable, but the Batrider not being able to move means he's not able to exploit the positioning and pull your ally out of position, which is largely what leads to the Batrider lasso essentially getting a kill for his team. It's him being able to manipulate your hero's positioning and pull you into a situation where it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get out alive. But Nyx and Morphling, the final bans. It's Morphling. Interesting. We've seen Morphling only run a few times so far, but different teams in this tournament view him or value him very differently. We've seen him run in the off lane a few times. We've seen him even run in the safe lane as farming in a tri lane. Obviously, when you run him in the safe lane, he's going to be a lot more agi based. When you run him in the off lane or even as a support, he's going to be that strength based build and really relying on adaptive strike and the stun that goes with it, which is absolutely ridiculous. 4.25 seconds at max level, and that's a long time to stun someone. We're not going to see that this game because it is going to get banned out, and I'm not really sure if eHug was going to go for the Morphling in this situation. It would have been that more core role of the Morphling with the Agi base, but they went with the Anti-Mage instead. So they're deciding that they said, you know what? You've got the Lycan. You've kind of already put yourself on a timer, or at least indicated that you want to push and most likely trade
10
towers.
seconds remaining.
And if you do that, well, we've got an Anti-Mage who's just going to farm faster and exploit the fact that you're not able to, or that you're going to look to try and end the game early. And if we can just kind of delay that a little bit, then our Anti-Mage is going to be sitting in a really good position. Rebeldes finishes up their lineup with a Doom. So one of the strong counters for an Anti-Mage, of course. Once you get the Doom on him, there's nothing he can do to get rid of that. It's not like a typical Silence where he can just pop his Manta and, well, blink away. Doom's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to deal with, but I actually wonder if maybe the Doom is going to cripple their ability to push and take a bunch of towers early on. I think the tier 1s are going to be pretty simple for them to drop.
10
I think
seconds
even
remaining.
maybe the tier 2 in the top lane should be relatively simple. But
5 seconds
I don't know if the Doom's going to give them enough team fight early on. They might have limited themselves a little bit there, but we'll have to see moving forward. And oh, we hop on into the game and we get a pause immediately. That does give us a little bit of time to take a look at who we got playing what. So on the Radiant side, we have Team eHug playing their Vengeful Spirit is going to be Pandago. As I try to center the camera here. MJW is going to be on the Lion. Whereas Cero is going to be on the Anti-Mage. Gamer123 is going to be on the Templar Assassin, which I think is Justin. But don't quote me on that one. And Infinity is going to be playing the Batrider. On the Dire side, we have Team Rebeldes, reigning from Brazil. XX is going to be playing their Lina. Old K is going to be up on the Queen of Pain. C4T, or Cat, is going to be playing the Shadow Demon. Therence is a stand-in. We didn't see him play for Rebeldes last night. It was Bleed who was, of course, playing for them. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to make the game today. I'm not sure if we'll see him in the second game that Rebeldes will play tonight. But Therence will be standing in for him, and he'll be up on the Doom. And H4N is going to be on the Lycan.
To battle.
In terms of positioning right off the bat, nothing too surprising. Both teams taking their own jungle. The Batrider pushed up quite far in the lane. Didn't actually place an observer ward or anything like that, or even remove the trees, which sometimes we'll see a Batrider do. As soon as he hops into the game, buys his boots, runs all the way up there, pops Firefly, and gets rid of these trees. And that helps give him vision of the supports coming in from the side. So we won't see that this time around.
Worthy tribute.
So maybe Infinity will just have to play a little bit safer, but he should be okay. As for our starting wards, looks like eHug just electing to ward both your standard rune location wards, but Rebeldes warding exactly the same location in the bottom. And if you take a look at the duration, you can see that Rebeldes was actually the first ones to ward there by almost about 10 seconds. So they should know that eHug does have a ward there. And that's actually the first ward that Rebeldes placed down. The other one's going to be up in the top lane, spawning out this Batrider, but we're going to have an initiation with the Disrupt, followed up by the Light Strike Array, but Infinity is able to pop that Firefly and run over to the side where the Lycan can't hit him and out of range of the Shadow Demon and the Lina. So Infinity taking a little bit of a beating there, but not surrendering first blood just yet. So he's going to be on the Batrider in that offlane, going up against the Lycan, the Lina, and the Shadow Demon. In our mid lane, it's going to be the matchup that we expected. The Templar Assassin going up against the Queen of Pain. Notice we already have a Sentry Ward down to prevent that meld. Although he doesn't have it skilled yet, but eventually he will. But prevent that meld from being able to dodge the Shadow Strike. In the bottom lane, we've got the Vengeful Spirit doing a lot of the pulling. Going with the Lion and the Anti-Mage against the Doom, which has taken a little bit of damage and is just heading back to the fountain right now. Looks like both these supports are roaming away. Indeed, they have smoked, so probably trying to put some pressure on this TA in the mid lane. Let's take a look at Gamer123's HP. Ooh, it's about half. His mana's not that high either. He's got Refraction up right now, but he's just barely going to have enough mana for a second cast of it. However, they may be able to engage on him right in the right window where Refraction's going to go down. He's not going to be able to refresh it. He actually used Meld there, so now he won't have enough mana for Refraction. He gets disrupted up, followed by the Light Strike Array, and we do get our first blood, but MJW and Infinity are here to try and get a return kill, as they're going to chase down Cat, and they will get the return kill. But first blood going the way of Rebeldes. And who actually got that? It was the Lina who got the first blood, so a little bit of extra gold going the way of the support. And MJW playing quite aggressive there, stunning up Old K. But with XX there, he's not going to be able to secure that kill. Old K still had Blink available to him, so he's perfectly fine. But this is actually one of those slightly awkward moments where you've gotten a kill in your lane, and obviously that's a little bit of an advantage, but now you've got a big deficit in HP and mana, and that hero that you just killed has respawned and come back to the lane with full health and full mana, and has effectively a health and mana advantage over you. But Old K just had his bottle delivered, so he's going to get his HP and mana back up, and we may see him spend a little bit of that as Cat's coming in from above, and he may get the disruption off on the Gamer123. Indeed he does, but the Lina I think's a little too far to land the stun. Never mind, Gamer123 gets blocked up by the illusions. Old K playing it safe, blinking back, and we're going to see Gamer123 take a second fall of the game. Good rotation so far by Rebeldes as they pull out ahead 2-1, and really making sure that their Queen of Pain not only has a good start, but keeping this Templar Assassin down it's going to be one of the key heroes when it comes to eHug being strong in the mid game, and they're going to have to be, because they're going to play a lot of 4 protect 1. Just the 4 of them kind of staying together, and the 4 I'm referring to are the Vengeful Spirit, the Lion, the Templar Assassin, and the Bat Rider. The 4 of those heroes are going to stay together, try to get some pickoffs, and well, do what they can. You know, controlling the map and essentially creating space for their anti-mage, as well, the longer they can go in this game, the better off they're going to look. Anti-mage is one of the hyper farmers, so once he gets his Battle Fury going and a few more items under his belt, he's kind of uncontested with the amount of farm that he can pump out. There are a few heroes that can match him, like a Naga, but we're not going to see any of those heroes in this game, so expect the anti-mage to run away with it if he's given the space to do so. I heard a stun come out, but I think it was just Pandago making sure that he was going to get the last hit in the jungle there. Let's take a look at our last hits. Well, despite the fact that this TA has actually gone down twice, we do see the last hits fairly even in the mid lane. Queen of Pain with a slight advantage, 22 and 11 versus 19 and 5. So the advantage is mainly in denies more so than last hits. But of course, those 2 kills are going to be the bigger difference between these 2 heroes. As for our 2 safe lanes, well, they're pretty much dead even, but once again, denies kind of separating it. Not really the biggest difference in the world, as we got 36 and 14 for the anti-mage versus the 35 and 8 for the Lycan. And typically, your denies actually don't have the biggest impact. As I mean, you look at Sorrow, and he's gotten 14 denies right now, but there's no one in this lane. The Doom has abandoned. The Doom is down in the jungle. So he's not really denying against anyone. A lot of his denies are actually just to control the wave. And sure, some of those denies were early on when Doom was still in the lane. But most of his denies now aren't going to have that effect. But when you look at it on the flip side, H4, not that many denies on the Lycan. But for a lot of the time, eHug's actually had a hero up here. Yes, it was Infinity early on, but now it's MJW just rotating up there and soaking up a little bit of XP as a support. And, you know, that's good. If they're able to do so, if they don't need to devote that line into the bottom lane to protect the anti-mage because he doesn't have anyone down there, that frees up the Bat Rider to hop into the jungle, get a little bit more farm, a little bit more XP and gold under his belt. And then that also allows MJW to get a little bit more XP, but also get a few last hits like this. And these little last hits go a long, long way. A lot of people think you know, the skill in being able to last hit is largely attributed to a core player. But, you know, how many times does a support hero like MJW like this get the opportunity to last hit? If he's missing some of these last hits, that's going to be very, very devastating. We haven't seen him miss one just yet. And, of course, as I say that, I give him the caster curse as he misses one. But he's managed to get 7 CS so far in that top lane. So going 7 for 8 with the opportunity there. But that's going to give him quite a bit of influx in gold compared to where he'd be if he wasn't able to make that rotation. But okay, going to get stunned up here by Pandago. He's not going to take too much damage, but it is damage nonetheless. He does have a regen bottled up. Oh, MJW almost getting caught out by Cat and XX. Just barely getting past them, but there may be a wraparound here. So the Wolves are going to push past the tower, and MJW playing it nice and safe, staying back. So now he's going to push up. They don't have any vision. Oh, now they do. They just placed an observer ward, so they know exactly where MJW is. There was just a kill in the bottom lane as the Doom did return to that lane, and he got picked off by Infinity. I'm guessing Lasso was used there, dragging him back to Sorrow. But Infinity did take a fall after the kill, so obviously Doom was used onto the Bat Riders. We're going to see this top tier 1 tower go down, and now expect them to dive MJW. Because of this observer ward, they do know exactly where he is, and here we go. We're going to get the disruption, followed up by the light strike array from the Lina. The timing is good, and MJW will go down. He does get the stun off, but it's just going to stun up one, and it's not going to keep him alive. But another good rotation and kill set up by the supports of Rebeldes. You know, just going to prevent any kind of further pushes going on in the top lane, and that's one of the things that Bat can do quite well. Is if he's able to get there in time, he can just push out in the lane, drop the Firefly, so the creeps all have to walk over it, and they're standing on it as they get towards the tower, and that allows him to just kind of thwart any kind of push that's going in the lane, and just help push it right back. MJW hiding in the trees, and that's going to allow him to open up onto the Doom here, and Therence is going to go down. Sarrow getting the kill there. Nice job by MJW to make sure that his carry gets the kill. MJW is already sitting in a pretty good position in terms of items. With that little bit of farm as well that he got in the top lane, doesn't really have to get that kill there, or there's not really that much value in a support picking it up. Sometimes if maybe your support struggling a little bit, you may argue that it's better for the support to get that kill than the carry. Of course, the kill is going to help accelerate the carry's farm, and that's ideally what you want, because this game you're trying to create space and buy time for that anti-mage to get bigger and bigger. And any gold you can give them early on is going to move that timeline up very, very quickly. MJW making a rotation there, unfortunately misses the Earth Spike. But while I was talking there, we did see the Shadow Strike come out onto Gamer123, and then he used the meld right around here to dodge it. So that's just an example of that happening. Of course, without the sentry, that is a very possible play that is going to come out. Old K just completely taking control of this lane with that double damage rune. But Pandago doing a little bit of counter warding, and he needed to be careful there, as Old K could just come on. Oh, he's actually going to chase him, but it was a little bit of a bait as Infinity's going to jump on in and get the lasso off. That's going to be followed up by the finger, as MJW is going to get the kill on the Queen of Pain there. So nice little setup there. I think that was a planned bait, as they knew Infinity was going to be TPing in. He had just gotten his Blink Dagger, and well, they got a kill on one of the more valuable targets right now on the side of Rebeldes. The Queen of Pain, probably the second most valuable target, with the Lycan being number 1. Doom wouldn't be actually a terrible target either. Not that his farm has exploded, but that's kind of the point. If you get a kill on him now, you're going to set him back even further. And if you really hurt Doom in the early portions of the game, that stops him from getting the levels under his belt, that stops him from being able to level up Devour, and stops him from getting the Hand of Midas, which it looks like he's going to be going for this game. And if you can delay both of those, then you're really going to set that Doom back. And that's just one of the key things that the heroes on, or the players on the side of eHug, are going to look to do to just buy a little bit more time for Sorrow. We're going to get a disrupt. off here onto Gamer 123. Infinity's going to be popping the Firefly and maybe engaging from the side here. HFN has already beaten up Roche quite a bit. He's sitting down around 2,000 HP. Oh, Infinity here will blink in, get the lasso off on HFN. Nice Sonic Wave coming out. There's lots of heroes on the side of eHug are quite low. We've lost most of the supports. Old K is going to go down on the side of Rebeldes, but with the Doom, we can expect this Templar Assassin to take out any side now, and indeed he will. Unfortunately, Sorrow's going to... Oh, no, never mind. Sorrow able to get the blink off and get away, and that was absolutely huge. Had they lost their anti-mage there, that would have been even worse. But Sorrow just barely escaping. You can see it's about 1,000 gold swing in favor of Rebeldes there, but you have to consider that Roche going down as well. Indeed, HFN will take that. That's going to get his Aegis up. On top of that, the Midas now getting finished by Terrence. So just like that, that small little play actually catapults Rebeldes so much further ahead than they were just a few seconds ago. Let's see just what kind of impact that has had. I don't expect it to have an immediate impact right now in terms of net worth. Obviously, we saw about 1,000 gold swing as a result of that team fight. But like I said, it's put that Doom in that position where he's got those levels, and now he's got his Hand of Midas finished as well. Gave them the Aegis from taking Roche, so they're going to get obviously extra gold there. But it's going to give them, like I said, that Aegis on the Lycan, and he's going to be able to play a lot more aggressive and be able to put a lot more pressure on some of these outer towers. But we see the Lycan is our number one in net worth at 6,700. Anti-Mage, not that far behind, 5,800, about 900 behind. That's a little bit further than you'd want him to be. Obviously, you'd want him to be number one, but it's Anti-Mage. Expect him to be there pretty soon. In terms of our two mid laners, they're pretty much locked even in terms of net worth. 4,800 on the Queen of Pain, 4,700 on the Templar Assassin. So both pretty even there. Infinity using the lasso once again. This time it's to pull the Doom up onto the high ground there, where they should be able to secure a kill, as he's going to tick out to the Firefly. So good pick off there from Infinity. He's really starting to have an impact on this game on the Batrider, as he's already been a part of 5 of eHug's 6 kills. And I think all of those have come on the back of him getting the Blink Dagger. So good plays coming out from him. As for our entire game state, you can see net worth, well, it's Rebeldes favored, 3,500 lead for them. I expect that to change soon as we see the Battle Fury getting picked up by the Anti-Mage. XP, about 1,000 in favor of Rebeldes as well. But now, this is a very, very key moment in the game. We just saw the Anti-Mage pick up that Battle Fury. You'd like to do whatever you can to prevent it from coming out. But it is out now. It's a 13-minute Battle Fury, so it's not the fastest timing, but certainly not the slowest timing. So now you have to deal with the fact that this Anti-Mage is going to be able to farm quickly. There's a couple different ways of dealing with it. Put a lot of pressure on the towers, which they definitely have the possibility of doing with the Lycan. They can do a little bit of split pushing with 4 of their heroes sticking together, going up against the 4 of the other side, and then Lycan pushing a different lane.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Or they can just constantly hunt for that Anti-Mage, chase him around the map, force him to TP to different places, force him to be running around rather than farming. As we see, there is a smoke here from Rebeldes. They are looking for him. They're not going to find him in the jungle. He is just making his way to the bottom lane now. He's not actually able to step up and farm anywhere. And this is kind of the effect of just... It's clear that they've smoked up. It's clear that they haven't been on the map for quite some time. And Sorrow has to play and respect that, because he has no idea where these heroes are. And if he does get caught out, he knows that's going to be very, very detrimental to his game.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom
up to the top lane. Just going to soak a little bit here. How's Old K looking? He elected to go with a Hand of Midas as well. Interesting that Rebeldes actually picking up 2 Hand of Midases, which is a little bit surprising given that they're going to be going up against an Anti-Mage. It is going to allow them to scale a little bit later on into the game, but it does make them a little bit weaker in this mid part as Sorrow gets caught. Pushed out a little bit too far. We got LSA'd from the Fog, and then followed up by a Doom, as we're going to see Pandago go down as well. Wrong place, wrong time there. But Rebeldes, clearly, their game plan is to take over this Radiant jungle And not only have they done so, they've got us nice
Dire's
observer
middle
ward.
tower
Don't
is
expect
under
this one to be countered. This is a little bit of one of those unusual. I mean, I think every support in this game knows about this ward, but it's one of those ones that's very, very difficult to counter ward, and it doesn't give you as much knowledge as, you know, your more traditional observer ward that's kind of placed in the middle of the jungle here, or even, you know, the one that's placed a little bit higher up around here. It doesn't give you all the information of that, but it does give you quite a bit of information, and it's just one of those observer wards that's going to really track where the anti-mage is moving. Even if it doesn't directly see the anti-mage, it gives you vision of this area, and based on, well, where the lanes are, you can pretty accurately predict where that anti-mage is going to be on the map. And, well, we see a sentry ward go out and doesn't catch the observer ward, but Pandago proving me wrong, showing that he is a very top tier support as he finds that observer ward and counters it up. So good play there coming up from Pandago. And then he places a ward in kind of a little bit of an unusual place for an observer ward at this point in the time. At this point in time for the Radiant sign. Typically you'd like to see a ward at the bottom rune, so obviously you have vision of the bottom rune. This does spot the bottom rune for you, but it doesn't spot this rotation in through here. If you're not warding the bottom rune, typically if you're trying to protect your bottom lane, you're warding more in the lane. As unfortunately I missed a kill there as Infinity once again getting another kill onto Old K. He's been doing a really good job of that. But you typically see an observer ward placed in the bottom lane, and that's going to basically spot any rotations from the Dire side as they make their way into the jungle. So this one, not only is it going to most likely not get dewarded, and I hope I didn't just curse that curse that observer ward as I did the last one.
Radiant structures are
but it's a lot less likely to get counter warded, but it does still give you that same knowledge of these heroes coming in from there. And they're kind of banking on the fact that they said, you know what? The chance of Rebeldes just walking up this ramp and into our jungle without being smoked is quite low. So we can actually say, you know what? They're most likely going to be smoking anyways to make that rotation. Let's just not have vision of it, because even if we have vision and they're smoked, we're not going to see them. But we'll have to see. Rebeldes could just very well march down in there. But the thing is, if eHug knows that they're in their jungle, you're just going to see the anti-mage rotate up to the top lane and just take the Dire jungle for his own and start farming up there. It's not about Rebeldes just securing that area. It's about them making the rotations into those areas at the right time. So it's about having the map control to be able to just venture in there whenever they want, and then put the pressure onto Sorrow. They don't even necessarily have to actually get the pick off, but even if they just get some good damage in on him and have him, scare him a little bit, force him to be on the run, force him to be thinking or second guessing every single time he's sitting there trying to farm a camp. Can I go there? Is that safe? Is that really risky? Do I need someone on my team closer to me if I'm going to go farm there? And it's those little things that actually go a long way to limiting or assisting how fast an anti-mage is able to farm. As it looks like Rebeldes is going to go back on the offensive as they take the mid-tier 1 tower. That one was quite low, and it was just a matter of time before that one was going to go down. But eHug saying, you know what? You guys just moved a whole bunch of heroes into the mid lane. We're just going to go and put some more pressure on your bottom tower, forcing them to rotate back down. Now Sorrow and Infinity both TP to the mid lane and decide, well, now you're coming bottom, let's just go up here and farm up again. So Sorrow's going to be playing a little bit of that cat and mouse kind of game here. And this is the problem. If Rebeldes keeps trying to chase, and they get chasing in this game, they're trying to chase the anti-mage all over the place. You kind of walk a fine line of, yes, we're delaying him because he's running away from us, but at the same time, we're not really getting anything done either. So we're chasing this one hero with 2, 3, sometimes 4 heroes. But there's, what are the other heroes on eHug doing? Obviously, they're getting ahead of your heroes because your heroes aren't really doing anything, and you'd expect eHug's heroes to be doing something because, well, the other team's just chasing one hero, and there's 3 lanes of the map, and there's 2 jungles. Well, once again, we see Rebeldes making that rotation up to the top lane, and not really, like, they're getting some farm done right now, but eHug's been playing this quite well. Quite well. We've seen some good rotations from Rebeldes, but in the last couple minutes, it's just been them constantly moving around, trying to chase that Anti-Mage and not putting the pressure on those towers. I spoke earlier about them being able to take these tier 1 towers, and they took the top one, they took the mid one, and they took the bottom one, but they haven't been able to break any of these tier 2 towers. You know, they got a little bit of damage in on the top, a very slight amount on the bottom one. But they need to look to actually destroy those towers and start threatening high ground, because we're already 22 minutes into this game. Anti-Mage, take a look at net worth. He has been catching up to the Lycan, but Lycan's been doing a pretty good job of staying out in front. But Sorrow is going to start exploding in terms of his gold per minute here. He's already got the Battle Fury, the Yasha, and a Vlad's. Let's actually take the time to go quickly through everyone here. I'm sorry about the spectator chat there. We've got a Blink Dagger up on MJW. Pendago has got a Sage's Mask. So he's going to be going for a Medallion, but quite a ways out from that. We've got the Force Staff and the Blink Dagger up on the Bat Rider. Gamer123's got not only the Blink Dagger, but also a Desolator as well. And then another 1,800 gold. I'm getting a little bit of lag. Hopefully that'll clear up. Old K almost done his Orchid. Of course, he's going to be set back a little bit with the purchase of that Hand of Midas. But look for him to finish that in just a second. In fact, he has just bought the recipe, but the courier's outside the base, so he's going to have to wait for that to fly right back. HFN has Necro 3, Medallion, Vlad's, and soon to be another Aegis. Oh, maybe not. eHug will be coming in and contesting this. XX with the Yules, earn on the Shadow Demon, but eHug not able to get there in time. Aegis will go on to HFN. And what does Terrant have? He's the only one I haven't checked yet, as he's got the Hand of Midas, Blink Dagger, Drums, and he's got a Point Booster as well. So he's going to be going after that Egg Scepter, and that'll allow him to basically permanently doom the Anti-Mage, so the Anti-Mage isn't going to be able to just kind of back away, wait for the doom to wear off, and then re-engage. It'll also disable passives, so those won't be available to the Anti-Mage if he picks up something like a Butterfly or something like that. Infinity will jump on in, but he's not going to get the lasso off onto XX, as he was able to Yules himself up, but as soon as he lands from that, he's just going to go down anyways. Nice Scream of Pain coming out. We did lose Infinity, but he was able to drag the Lycan up onto the high ground. Gamer123 also netting a kill there. XX, he did buy back, and now he's going on the offensive with Old K here, as they've used the Laguna onto Pendago, getting the kill there, but Sorrow with the Mana Void, sensing the fact that Queen of Pain has a very low current amount of mana, and just blowing him up with the Mana Void, so getting another kill there. Take a look at the show fight recap. We can see it was a 3-for-4 trade. Of course, Rebeldes using that buyback on the Lina. And as a result, it's about 1,300, almost 1,400 gold swing going the way of eHug. And this is, I mean, obviously you don't want to be losing a team fight when you're Rebeldes and you're on a little bit of a timer going up against an Anti-Mage. But it's the fact that team fight was happening and it was getting forced by eHug on Rebeldes' side of the map is the exact opposite of what they want. Rebeldes wants to be on the offensive. They want to be the ones engaging. They want to be the ones starting the team fights, and they want to be the ones dictating where on the map they're going to be having those team fights. Because of course, if Rebeldes is constantly on the back foot defending their side of the map, yes, they can get some kills. Yes, they could potentially come out ahead in that team fight. But then it's a long, long way for them to march down the map to start dealing some structure damage to eHug on the back of potentially a one-team fight. When they're on the back foot, if they then lose that team fight, then eHug, not only have they won a team fight at a point in the game where maybe they shouldn't because they've got an Anti-Mage, but they're also then able to deal some structure damage and get further ahead from where they should be at this point in the game. Well, we are 26 minutes in, so let's take a look at the net worth, and you can see, as a result of that fight, Just 1,000 gold separates us. Rebeldes still in the lead as, well, they're going to get a little bit closer, or a little bit further ahead as they do get the pick off there on Infinity. And now they're going to actively move into this jungle, try and find Sorrow. Sorrow is actually manipulated or altered his positioning to make sure that he's well away from his opponents and predicted where they would be going. Instead, he's going to go bottom and says, you know what, you guys are going to move through the jungle, try and find me. You're not going to find me. As a result, you're going to go for my tier 2 tower. Well, I'm just going to put pressure on your tier 2 tower in a different lane. And you're going to have to respond to that. But at the same time, the other heroes on my team are putting pressure on the tier 2 tower. So yeah, we've lost our mid tier 2, but we've done some damage on the top tower and the bottom tower. We didn't get them down, but we weren't really able to defend mid anyways. Old K is going to get initiated on here. A nice setup there coming up from MJW and Gamer. They knew that Hero was responding. They knew that it was the Queen of Pain. They backed up, showed that they had completely backed, and then re-engaged when the Queen of Pain moved up to farm that creep wave. And then Cat, unfortunately, getting picked off as well here. And things starting to come a little bit unraveled here for Rebeldes, as those little pickoffs are going a long way to setting them back in this game. Take a look at our items as we see our Anti-Mage has just now moved into the top slot in terms of net worth, as he's about 100 ahead of the Lycan at 16.8k. And I'm going to go a little bit further ahead here as HFN is going to go down. He does have the Aegis.
Will howl again.
So will they stick around for this? They may, because they still have another 13 seconds before the Queen of Pain's back up, but they're not going to risk it. They're just going to back away and say, you know what, there's a chance that we could get engaged in a team fight that's going to last certainly longer than 13 seconds. And if that's the case, the Queen of Pain's going to be coming in, and that could not work out for us. So playing it a little bit safer, and rightfully so. They've got the better team going on later on into this game. Well, another 3 minutes before Roche is going to be up. 3 minutes and 15 seconds, so we'll look for that right around the 31-minute mark in this game. But that's got to be one thing that Rebeldes is aiming to get, another Aegis, and hopefully then they're going to be able to maybe breach the high ground, but they would only be able to do that in the mid lane, as both the tier 2s in the top and the bottom are still available. Infinity finding himself in the wrong place, wrong time, as he's going to get picked off by Rebeldes. And unfortunately, look at where the creep wave is in the top lane. They don't really have the ability to hop into the top lane and deal damage to that tier 2. So now they hop into the mid lane, push that out, and realize, okay, we're not really going to be able to do anything on the back of this. Let's back up. Let's start farming. Let's manage the creep wave in the bottom lane, because it has been pushed up. I think they're going to actually engage here on the TA illusion. But I think they knew that it was definitely just an illusion there. Either way, eHug playing pretty proper when it comes to 4v1. They're doing a pretty good job. And unfortunately, oh no, Earthspike's going to be off the mark. It's not going to matter. HFN's still going to go down. But Rebeldes just not able to get it together. They've gotten picked off a few times like that, and it just keeps setting them further and further behind where they need to be at this point in the game. Like I said, take a look at the gold graph, and yes, it has come back up in eHug's favor, but even if Rebeldes was ahead 1,000 or 2,000 gold at this point in the game, you have to think that they're actually still behind. Because the Anti-Mage he's just going to become that difference. He's just going to become that hero later on that you're not going to be able to deal with. You do have the Doom and an Aegis Doom, for that matter. So you do have the ability to kind of limit what he's able to do. But it's an Anti-Mage. He doesn't have to straight up kill you in a 5v5 fight. He can control the map, and he can split push faster than you're going to be able to, even when you have a Lycan on your side. With that said, I don't think Rebeldes is completely out of it. You know, we've seen the value of one team fight and how it can make huge swings in terms of the current game state. We saw in our last game of last night, eHug was looking in a pretty good spot early on. They were outplaying Not Today like crazy. They were so dominant in that early game. They looked like they were going to cruise to an easy victory. But they overextended in one team fight. That brought the Storm Spirit back into the game. He had been really struggling. And on the back of that, they just, Not Today, just rolled with it. And in turn, they walked away with an easy victory, coming from a very huge deficit. It's a little bit different for that to happen this game. The Queen of Pain, she's been struggling a little bit. She got her Orchid up quite late, and that's actually quite significant with her Orchid timing. The later she gets that up, that means there's less of a discrepancy between when she gets her Orchid and when the Anti-Mage gets his Manta. Of course, once he has the mana available to him, he can just Manta off the Orchid. But instead of that Roche going the way of Rebeldes, it does go the way of eHug. And that means that's an Aegis on the Anti-Mage. So not only will they have to kill him twice if they catch him out, or kill him once, but they're going to have to kill him twice. As for the cheese, we picked it up, because that was our third Roche. Gamer123 is going to be the one holding it. As Infinity also has a gem. Oh, he's just going to jump on in, use that lasso onto the line, so they get another pick off. And they're going to look for a second here as they spot out OK. They sense where he's gone. He's going to try to TP away. Flame Break will come in. It was on the mark, but just arriving there a little bit too late. The TP had already gone off. Pandago getting chased down by a bunch of minions. And he will go down. A nice little play there by HFN to sense that Vengeful Spirit was a little bit out of position. Popped his minions and just right-clicked her down. But eHug's not backing away. They're going to go for this fight 4v4. They're going to start with a kill on the Lycan, and Doom getting quite low as well. Looks like he's going to take a fall. I think Old K will be able to secure a kill here on MJW. Oh, maybe not. He does have the BKB, so they don't have a way of stopping him. And indeed, he will be able to blink on in. Use that Sonic Wave to get the kill there, but uh-oh. I don't know if he's going to be able to get away from Sorrow. Sorrow realizing which direction that Queen of Pain was facing when she used her blink to jump up there into the fog. And he's chasing her, but it's very difficult, and Old K is able to get out of there alive. Lena actually went all the way down to the bottom lane, hiding into the trees and TP'd away. Not sure how she got there. But how did that team fight go? There's some key points. Aegis, still available. So they didn't even burn through the Aegis in that fight. Gem, still up on Infinity. In fact, he got the gem that Rebeldes was carrying. So in terms of that certainly didn't go bad for eHug. If anything, it went quite poorly for Rebeldes, and a lot of that was actually just on that initiation. There was some good solid initiation from eHug right here, where they were able to lock down and blow up that Lycan before he was able to really have an impact. I think they knew going into the fight that yes, it was a 4v4, but they were going to have an advantage, and that was because they knew the Lycan had already popped Shapeshift. They knew he already popped his Necrobook 3, so he had both of those on cooldown, and that really limits what Lycan's going to be able to do in a team fight. I think he still had BKB up. I'm not 100% sure on that. But still, a Lycan without Shapeshift isn't really going to be able to do that much. He's not going to be able to stick on the targets and get some good damage in because he doesn't have that max move speed. Well, we're going to see a bunch of items coming out here, as it is going to be an Ag Scepter for the Lena, and we also saw, well that's going to go with her Yules, but we also saw a few other items coming out, as it's going to be HFN working towards an AC. So that's going to give them a little bit more armor to potentially deal some more damage moving forward here. As it's going to be a BKB as well for the Doom to go with the Ags and the Blink Daggers. We saw he blinked in and got the Doom off and got some good damage off, but then he quickly took a bunch of damage. Oh no, this is a disaster for Rebeldes. This is not what they wanted. eHug not only pushing up here onto the high ground, but they're doing so with a pick off on the Lena, and now the Doom and the Lycan. Oh, this could just be it. Old K could even go down as well. Yep, it's going to be a 5-man wipe. This is probably just it. I think eHug will probably just take these racks and go for the throne. They could play it a little bit safer. because I guess there is the off chance that they're not able to destroy the throne in time. I think they could do it. But they made us choose to go for top racks. They can't go for bottom because the bottom tier 2 is still there, but the top tier 3 is available to them, and that's exactly what they're going to do. I think there is a possibility they could end the game though.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
In fact, they may even stick around on the back of this.
Has fallen. Dire's top barracks has fallen.
Yeah, they're just going to start beating away on the tier 4s. Now I think it might be a little bit too late for them actually to destroy the throne because they wasted all that time. Glyph's going to come out now, so that's going to allow the Shadow Demon to respawn. Lena's going to be up in 3 seconds. Doom's going to come up as well, as unfortunately we get a disconnect at this moment. GG well played's going to come out anyways. So it will be eHug that is going to take this match, and that puts them at 1-1 right now in the group. Rebeldes, unfortunately, they're a team that made it into the group as a result of getting to the semifinals in the qualifiers, but they find themselves 0-2 in the group. They only have 1 match left, and that's actually going to be our last match of the night. But our next one is going to feature eHug. It's going to be eHug versus Complexity. Complexity so far haven't lost a game. They've only played 1 game, so they're 1-0 right now, beating Rebeldes, or sorry, beating not today, not Rebeldes, excuse me. They're going to be playing Rebeldes for our 3rd match, and well, a win against Complexity would be absolutely huge for eHug, and I think it's actually required. Because if Complexity beats eHug, then they'd be up at 2 wins. eHug would be able to... Yeah, eHug would be out of it. Rebeldes wouldn't be able to win either. So yeah, that would be it. So our next match could actually be completely deciding on who advances out of Group 2. Of course, our 3rd match would still matter, because then it'll come down to... then it'll solidify the placing between Complexity and Not Today in terms of where they finished in the group, whether they're 1st or 2nd. Of course, both would advance, but it puts you in a better position in terms of seeding moving on to the quarterfinals. But I think they'd win that tiebreaker anyways because they won the match against Not Today. But either way, it should our next game should be a good one. So eHug looking to well, to hopefully put themselves in the position to at least set Rebeldes up to potentially play spoiler. As if eHug would win our next match, then Complexity would be sitting at 1-1. eHug would finish at 1-2, and the only way that eHug would remain in contention would be if Rebeldes beat Complexity, which would make them all 3 of those teams finish at 1-2. So we'd have a 3-way tie for 2nd place. Not Today, of course, would be finished at 2-1 and would have finished 1st in the group. So then we'd have a 3-way tie. So there are actually a couple different scenarios that could happen. Now, some of those are a little bit more far-fetched than others, but it should make for some good Dota, and hopefully we'll stick around for that. Our next match will be starting at 7:15, so not that far away, just 7 minutes from now. Or actually 9 minutes with the 2-minute delay. So hopefully you guys will stick around for that. Once again, I'm Niz. You were watching the Dota 2 Canada Cup. If you enjoyed the cast, hit that follow button on twitch.tv/NizCast. If you didn't, let me know why you didn't, and hopefully I can improve it for the next time. Besides that, hit me up with a follow on Twitter at NizCast, and definitely check out my YouTube channel as well, which is youtube.com/NizCast. I upload all the VODs of everything that I've cast, so you've got a nice archive there to go back and maybe check a game that maybe you've played in, or maybe you just missed it and you want to go back and see what happened. And that's a way that you can do that. But I'm going to take a quick little break here while we've got a downtime between the games. But I'll be back with you in just under 10 minutes, and hopefully you'll stick around. Thanks for watching.